All right. Welcome, TCT, and anybody else who's listening via the big world of Valentis, or anybody else that's listening to our presentation today. On Wednesday, we like to talk about our wellness journey. And I really believe that this is something that we all needed to talk about today. And so a couple of months ago, we came up with 6 ways to prevail. And I believe that everybody should know, if they don't know already, that Valentis means prevail in Latin. And our goal is to prevail in all areas of our life. So it's not just our wellness in our bodies, but it's also our wellness in our minds. And so that's what we're working towards with our Valentis. And so the first thing that I want to talk about, and Lori, you can come on and you can comment where you want to, when you want to here. But I believe that the first thing that we found with our opportunity with Valentis is the way you have to prevail is the type of people and the places that you surround yourself with. And so what I've discovered with Valentis is that we are in a tribe of people that are all hugely motivated to become the best versions of themselves. Anybody that started these products, obviously they want to make some changes, and surrounding yourself with the right people and the right places is definitely a really great place to start. So do you have any comment on that, Lori, at all? No? Oh, I put you on, you're on mute. Just a second. You're going to have to come off mute, Lori. I can't hear you. Here we go.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. What that brought to mind was just a meme that I saw today that I posted in our 21-day challenge was, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. I thought that was really...
Yeah, that's right. You did do that.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely such a big part of this is if you want change and you're having unpositive things around you, food, people, whatever, the best way to do that is to change what's around you. So that to me would be one of the things that we have to look after when we're going through this journey. And you know, I should have put more than just our pictures up here, because we have so many pictures of us in the beginning of our journey and us now. But what you want, and I'm sure like everybody here agrees, is you want to be a product of the products. And to me, it is, yes, the products, but it's a lot more than just our physical product. It's actually our mind as well. And I think that's where people need to realize that it is all about your mindset, and you have to work. I would have to say that our success with these products is 80% mindset. You have to make a decision. You have to make a disciplined decision that you want change.
We've seen a lot of people who've reported nothing has worked. These haven't worked for me. They don't work for me. And you know that it's in their head. They're sabotaging themselves.
Yeah. So, you know, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the reasons why people do that and some solutions too. But this one is a big one. And I think this is what we wanted to really talk about with everybody, is that if you are persistent, you will get it. And if you are consistent, you will keep it. And so I've got 100% say with truth that for the last 4 years, I have been persistent and consistent with this wellness journey. There has not been, I can't even think of a day that I haven't had the Valentis products in my body. And right at the beginning, actually, the first couple of years, we were taking a day off of the Slim Rose coffee when we had our first blend. But nobody liked taking their day off at all. But other than that, the persistence and consistency of this journey and getting on track. I mean, we're not perfect. We've all had our moments where we go off track and we do some things that we know aren't consistent with a wellness journey, but we get right back on track again. So this is huge. And Lori, did you want to talk about anything about this before I?
Well, I think that we also need to change our mindset about failing, because if you eat something that you know is not going to be good for you, it's just a reminder of why it's not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you failed. It's just that, every once in a while we are only human, and we have to basically just, let our guard down every once in a while to know that you're not going to go right back to square one the minute you have something or you skip a product or whatever. So we need to understand that it's a journey, and you're on and off the track on a regular basis.
And I was talking to somebody today, and just think about when you wake up in the morning, and you look in the mirror, what do you want? Do you like what you see? And if you like what you see, what are the disciplines that you have to do to keep what you see? And if you don't like what you see, you have to measure what's more important to you, what makes you more miserable, what you see or what you're going to eat.
Right.
Right. So some people might say, I'm not giving up my whatever, say pop or whatever. Well, what's going to make you more miserable? Looking at this and being miserable because you're not happy with how you feel or look, or having that pop. Yeah. So when it comes right down to it, you guys, like these products are we're not on I don't know, a lottery ticket. This is not just a quick fix here. There's more than just drinking our coffee here. And there are disciplines that you're going to have to make some decisions on. And our products do help you with your cravings and helping you take control of that. But there is that little beast in here on the bad shoulder here and the good shoulder of like, oh, have that. But you have to make a decision, what do you want, right? And then you have to have the discipline and being persistent with that to keep it. So, and this one's another huge big one, is trust the proven process. And I know I was told this right at the very beginning, that these products are going to help your body heal from the inside out. And when your body gets back into balance, it can heal itself. And don't doubt the process of it. And don't let the scale be your boss, because it's crazy. And I know that we've been driven that way for years and years and years. So it's a thought pattern that we all think that scale tells us whether we're well or not, which is totally nuts. So, and what this quote says, your life won't change in a day. It won't change in a week or a month, but be patient, because it does take time for your body to heal. And I know, Lori, you're so awesome with all of this knowledge. So if you have things you want to say about this process.
I've been telling people lately that it's slow and steady wins the race. The rabbit or the tortoise and the hare proved that long ago. Mm-hmm. in a fairy tale maybe, but it's the truth, right? You get up and do one day at a time, and you will experience results.
Yeah. And actually it's funny because I have it on I've said this and I've got it on one of my things that I look at every day, is it takes 30 days for you to notice. It takes 60 days for your family and friends to notice, and it takes 90 days for the world to notice. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty real to what happened on my journey when I first started 4 years ago, that really nobody really noticed too much or said anything too much to me until about 3 months after I started. And then it's just persistently and consistently keeping on the journey that I've been able to prove to people and be an example that the process works. So, and then perseverance is another big one, and never stop trying. And, a lot of people, whether it be the opportunity that you're working on to become diamond in this company, or whether the diamond treasure to you is having your perfect health and body back, it takes perseverance. So, just keep being dedicated and keep being disciplined, and just be resilient and steadfast and persistent and committed to overcome all the things that you need to overcome, and just chip away and chip away and chip away till you get your diamonds. So perseverance is really important. And the last piece that is in this little presentation for you guys is patience. And I know a lot of us don't have that patience, but good things come to those who believe, better things come to those who are patient, and the best things come to those who don't give up. And I think that's the biggest thing and the biggest message that I wanted to get across to you today is don't give up. So,
today, I know it's your 26th anniversary today, Kathy and Doug. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
It's also my 4th anniversary today of becoming a non-drinker. And it was the easiest thing I ever did, because I reached a point in my life where I just looked at myself in the mirror and went, I don't even know who you are. Mm-hmm. And I can't do this anymore. And so when I reached that point where I just hit a wall and I was just so sick of it all, I woke up today, 4 years ago, and the words non-drinker popped into my head. I saw it plain as day, non-drinker, and I went, oh, well, that makes sense, because I'd read the book Alan Carr has on how to quit smoking. And I never smoked, but I was curious. So one of the things he said was, to be able to successfully quit smoking, you need to start believing, first of all, that you are a non-smoker. So if you can change that, so when the words non-drinker popped into my head, I knew exactly what that meant. And I've just never looked back. Every once in a while I've had a drink, but it doesn't do anything for me. So 4 years went by really, really fast, and it changed my life for the best in so many ways, body, mind, and soul. So if you just really make the decision that that's what you want, then it can fall into place a little easier. And then you got to keep that voice inside your head that is not your friend from talking you out of it.
Yeah, I know. And it's, and just that don't give up, right? So that's where it's so important to not give up on your goals. And so I had a couple of other tips here, Lori, and you can just, chime in. And actually anybody here who has some things to say to these tips, but one of them was, don't let the scale be your boss, which we've already talked about. There's muscle gain, there's undigested food, there's flatulence, there's water retention. All those things can affect on the scale, right? So it's crazy if someone says, yeah, I gained 2 pounds today. I'm like, no, you didn't, right? So quit doing it.
If you take a day and weigh yourself every hour for like 6 or 8 hours, and no matter what you're doing, you'll see that scale go up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
So there's no consistency as long as you do it first thing in the morning. If you want a true accurate measurement, there's no reason to do it every day. Once a week even is good, or once a month, whenever you feel like I feel lighter,
Yeah.
But I don't even know where this began with this whole scale thing, that everybody started to weigh themselves, or when weight became such an important thing, because it really is about the inches as far as I can tell.
Probably as soon as they were invented, and then like the marketing of it all, right? So, and another thing that I read today, which might be a good tip for some people who are having trouble, is keep track, not make a food journal necessarily, but if someone has a trouble with like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, I'm doing it all right, then keep track of what you're eating. And I know a lot of people snap pictures of their food all the time on Instagram. I see it all the time, people showing their plates off. But if someone is having trouble, get them to actually journal with pictures all the stuff they're ingesting in a couple of days. And then go back and go, oh, I have a pop a day, or I'm going to, like Subway, or like how much carbs, how many breads are they eating, and they don't really realize it. So, really take inventory of what you're putting in your mouth, and it isn't just about drinking the cup of coffee. You really do have to listen to your carbs and your cravings. So, and another thing, and maybe Lori, you have an opinion to this, but I did read that sometimes people aren't eating enough protein in their diet, and I don't know if you have an opinion to that or not.
Well, my opinion is people are eating too much fat.
Yeah.
They're just eating too much fat. And And when you do a high fat, high protein, low carb diet, you're literally knocking out your liver because it's truly high fat, low carb. And the liver needs glucose to keep in reserve, to protect the pancreas, to protect the heart, to protect the brain. And when you don't eat the right carbs, because you're on a low carb diet, then you're really hurting yourself in the long term. So I watched a guy yesterday who, in the restaurant, I served him, and he ordered a Cobb salad with dressing, but no toast. He didn't want the toast, and a glass of milk. So I take him his Cobb salad, and I'm walking away thinking, that piece of toast probably isn't going to hurt you as badly as the glass of milk, the cheese, the egg, and the two kinds of meat are on there, bacon and chicken, right? So we really have to understand, I think, that fat is actually our enemy, not sugar.
Right. And I think, with the protein, sometimes people realize like there are lots of sources of protein,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that if you're not eating enough protein, that's not it. Like you need.
It's not even a factor. You never hear of somebody who died from not eating enough protein.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. There's protein in spinach. There's protein in sweet potatoes. There's protein in broccoli. There's protein all the time coming in. So if anything, we are actually eating too much protein at this point. And that's because we're looking at meat, dairy, and eggs as a protein source when they are a saturated fat source first.
Right.
And down the road, a somewhat bioavailable protein, because fruits and vegetables, protein that are available in those foods are way more digestible by the body than the meat, dairy, and eggs that tend to need more work to get it through the stomach and could possibly sit there and rot. And
Right.
then you eat an apple and you get a fermentation happening because apples, all fruits and vegetables pass through the gut very quickly, 1 to 2 hours. Meat takes 4, 6, 8 hours. Pork is even worse. Pork is the worst meat for us to eat because it is so full of fat, and it's a fat that pathogens and things hang out in because it's just hanging out in the body. So I think that we eat too much fat, and I've really become convinced of that, working it on myself, because I've been looking at my fat content and I've been eating way more fruits and vegetables, and my whole body operates better. So as soon as I put in any kind of fat now, I'm very aware of it being in my body. So, I mean, there's good fats, there's avocados, there's nuts and seeds, but there's still fats. So what I found that in my diet, I started to take off meat, dairy, and eggs. Well, I was never a big dairy eater, but I did eat cheese. I went after avocados and nuts and seeds quite a bit. So I would be having 2 avocados a day, and I was ordering fresh nuts and seeds from a company in BC that, fresh nuts, wow, like that's something else. And then I realized, oh, wow, I'm just overcompensating with fruits or with vegan fats in a sense, instead of animal fats. And now, after months of changing again, I find I have an avocado maybe once a week. I didn't order any nuts and seeds this time. It's just not satisfying. So it is a progress of taking that out of your diet and just gently moving it down the road to not eating so much fat.
Right.
So the research I've been reading is that fat is what blocks the insulin receptors, not sugar. Glucose is very necessary for the body to run. The heart runs off of it, the brain runs off of glucose, the pancreas runs off of glucose. And if you restrict good, clean carbohydrates like fruits and vegetables from your diet, you're doing a lot of harm inside your body. Yeah.
So that was the next point, is like a lot of people aren't eating enough whole foods. Right. And they're eating all this processed foods, and they're really ruining their weight loss success. Mm-hmm. If you're still working on that. And another one that I was with regard to working out, you don't need to go on a boot camp diet. And I apologize to anybody who's listening who are boot campers. But it goes back to the persistence and consistency. And you do need resistance training. You need to work with your muscles. You also need to work with your cardiovascular, but do stuff you love, right? Mm-hmm. Like Kendra's here dancing. Obviously, you're working on all that stuff with your dancing. Yoga is great for resistance training. We're using your own body weight. Cardiovascular, walking, if you don't like jogging, walking fast so that you're getting your heartbeat up and you're sweating a little bit, swimming, cycling, golfing. But those are things that you can do, but you have to be able to do something that you can manage and sustain. And even people that are, I did a yoga, it was a wheelchair yoga today. And so it doesn't, you don't make excuses, right? There's ways to use your body the way it's supposed to be used. So,
and yes, you can exercise quite a bit, but you can't replace eating well with exercising. My
no.
mom had a friend the other day who just about died from a heart attack. And she's like, I don't understand. She's always so healthy. She runs, she does this and that. I said, well, Mom, if she's eating a high-fat diet, she's plugged up all her pipes and things just quit working, right? Heart disease comes from fat.
Okay.
So if you have heart illness, it comes from too much fat. So you can't exercise it off enough when you're eating a bad diet.
Yeah.
One day it will kick you in the butt.
And it's funny because a lot of times people, will January 1 comes along and, okay, I'm going to get into the gym and I'm going to start my workout routine again. And I'm going to get into shape and I'm going to be in the shape that I should be in this year.
Right after I eat this pizza.
But yeah, like it's not just about mouth control. So it's not just about our Valentis products. If you just do that and you don't do anything else, you're not going to get your journey looked after. So it is a combination of not just that. So just making sure that you get your activity in as well. And actually, it was really interesting because this one point that I wrote down was, we're still drinking sugar. Like, are people still drinking sugar? And holy cow, like, think if they took that picture again of what they're drinking every day, like how many calories are people drinking? And it's that we got to help them and rescue people that haven't heard about us yet, because those energy drinks are brutal. And people are lacking energy because of all the things going on in their life. And so they're reaching for those energy drinks to try to help them. And they're drinking sugar on top of everything else that's in those things. So, and alcohol is another one. Even like the consumers are being fooled with this vitamin water, right?
Water.
And I think you maybe brought this up about the Coke conspiracy. I think I heard it from you, Lori, how there's actually a lot of sodium in Coke.
Oh, yeah.
And that sodium makes you thirsty, but there's more sugar, so you can't taste the sodium. And so it's a vicious circle, right?
And speaking of being thirsty, one of the side effects of a keto diet is you get so thirsty because the weight you're losing is you're dehydrating from the inside out. So any moisture that's in your body that your organs need to run leaves because the high fat diet is so hard on it. And high fat also takes up space in the blood. Your blood gets dirtier and thicker. There's no oxygen in the blood now because the fat pushes it out. So when you get super thirsty, and I've been testing this, because you get so thirsty and you can't even seem to get rid of that thirst, especially when you first start on the coffee. And now I've been doing this where when I feel thirsty, I go have an orange.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, that orange and all the fluids and the fiber and everything that's in that orange and the vitamins and minerals go in, and it's like it satisfies my body more than just trying to drink more and more and more water. So we have such a fruit fear that we should look at fruit now as one of the best rehydrators out there with water. If you have an orange and then drink a glass of water, the possibilities of that water being retained more in the body is more real. And the liver will actually take moisture out of an apple and store it. It literally compresses it down and stores it for those days when water isn't available. And when it needs some kind of hydration, it will pull out that apple moisture and rehydrate it and put it into action. So water it's not just about water. It's about the foods that we're eating that are full of sodium and are dehydrating our body. So the whole fruit fear thing has to go, because you can definitely help your your dehydrated feeling by eating more fruit. Just grab an apple, grab an orange, grab a banana.
Yep. And here's another thing that's part of our, I think, steps to wellness is, are you getting enough sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not getting enough sleep, physically, mentally, you're going to be not on the game at all. And your body, like there's studies about that your sleep is one of the biggest factors for obesity sometimes.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times if people aren't sleeping, that's another piece of your wellness journey, is how are you handling your stress, right? Because if you're not handling your stress and you're waking up in the night and you're worrying, that's all stuff that's affecting your wellness journey too. And so, yeah. Do you have any comment on the sleep part? I know we've
Well,
talked about this
I
before,
should
but
know that not drinking alcohol, I sleep so much better. Like when I was drinking, I own a bar. I was drinking quite heavily for, good 8 years. And I slept like shit. Like I'd wake up in the morning. I was waking up all the time and my body was just hurting so badly. And I would get up and look in the mirror and think, I've never been this tired in my entire life. Like I was so depleted just from eating and drinking badly. And so now I put my head in the pillow and I'm out. And I wake up to pee a couple times and I go back to bed and I'm out right away. But when I started reading about sleep and realized that our subconscious mind or body needs us to sleep. We need to consciously go to sleep so that the subconscious mind can repair what we've done all day. And that really made sense to me because it's, as long as we're functioning, the subconscious mind is running all our stuff. It's our eyes are blinking, our heart is pumping. It's doing all of that without us having to actually consciously think about any of it. And when we go to sleep, it then has a chance to repair your cells, reset your hormones, move from digestion into elimination, and do all the repairs needed to get you up the next day. And if you're not sleeping well, you're going to wake up the next day and not feel any better, and that just is going to start compounding on your health. So sleep is so, so important.
and I think sometimes people, like even now, if anybody, because of your starting the detox, getting your body detoxed, I think sometimes insomnia is one of the symptoms that I'm hearing people talk about, Lori. Hi, Sarah, for joining us. And so can you have comment on that? Like you're someone who does sleep well and you've started doing the detox and you start having insomnia. So can you comment on that a little bit?
Well, one of the words that that's used in the 24/7 page on our ValentisProducts.com is it called it disruptive technology. And I thought, no, why would they use the word disruptive in there? So I Googled it. And disruptive technology is like the internet. The internet has disrupted the encyclopedia company, or so there's all these industries that have disrupted what we were doing before. Mm-hmm. So I like that word because if you're not healthy inside and you start on these products, it will disrupt you because it's trying to get back to where it needs to be. So if you're not drinking enough water and your liver and gallbladder aren't working well and your intestines have become very dehydrated and it's hard to have a bowel movement because it's so dry, it won't move through, and this is very real for a lot of people, then when you start putting elimination products or detox products in the body, it's going to start, pushing for more elimination, but you've got this dried up part that's still stuck in your intestine that, more has to come through and push it through. It will disrupt your sleep. It will disrupt your bowel movements. It will disrupt a lot of things, but it's not going to last forever. Right. You just have to keep going, get through it. Hydrate your body so that it can function better. And if you understand that the body moves from digestion to elimination overnight, then don't eat after 8 o'clock because that's just going to put a meal in when it's moving into elimination and it's got to go, oh, shoot, they're eating. Okay, digest the juices. And it's not going to digest well. And so when you sleep, have you ever ate late at night and gone to bed and woke up the next morning and you feel like that meal's stuck right there? But it's not made to be digesting overnight. It's digestion through the day and elimination overnight. So that will interrupt your sleep for sure.
Yeah.
But it will balance itself out. And we found that when we first started taking the immune.
Yeah.
It's supposed to help you sleep better at night. And people are going, I can't sleep. Take it earlier. Oh, that solved the problem. So it's just a tweaking the regime that you have going. And that's why I hesitate to have people do more than one detoxing product at a time or any product at a time. It's like you need to get a feel for it in your body so you can tweak it. And then when you got that stabilized, then you can add something up because it's going to disrupt it again.
Right.
So disruptive technology is what Dr. Joe explains is 24/7. which I think you could also put in as immune as well. And the more detox, they're all kind of a new disruptive way of moving your body forward into a better place.
So trusting the process, like we said earlier, is really important. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and yeah, the last point I really had, well, there's a couple, but the one that I think, mindful eating, and that we need to slow down. We all live in such a go-go world that some people are eating way too fast, and they're distracted with eating and checking their phones and watching things and doing all this stuff, and they're not even being aware or being mindful of what they're putting in their body, and they're not chewing properly. And so just be mindful of that. Just be mindful of slowing down and eating without distraction and just savoring every bite. And yeah,
mystery hunger is something that affects a lot of people. Like, I'm just hungry all the time. Whatever I eat, it doesn't seem to satisfy. And that is literally your liver needing glucose. Your liver needs glucose from fruits and vegetables. So your liver is hungry. It needs to replenish its reserves of glucose, and it needs to be able to, back up the pancreas and back up the heart and the brain and all of that. And mystery hunger is literally linked to your liver. So if you're hungry all the time, you got to look at that and go, wait a minute. I ate a burger and fries. I'm still hungry. I'm going to have some toast and jam. Still hungry. How about some fruits and vegetables in there, right? Your liver is literally calling out for the good nutrition it needs to be able to operate. And when you give it some help, it responds immediately.
Yeah.
Responds immediately. So mystery hunger is a condition of your liver being overburdened.
So Sarah, do you want to say that comment out loud? What you just said?
Yeah. Am I unmuted?
Yeah.
So now that I have my ostomy, I have to chew so much more to make sure everything goes through okay. And I eat way less more than I did before, because my body actually has the time to recognize that it's full and that it doesn't actually need more. So when I'm eating a meal and I'm out with friends or something and I'm taking twice as long to eat and chew, I'm like, you guys should all chew the same amount as me, and then you won't be stuffing yourself past full.
10 bites, 10 chews per bite for sure, especially if it's meat.
Mm-hmm.
In the world of fast food restaurants, you don't even have to chew. You take a bite of that burger and it's already just mush in your mouth. You go chew, chew, swallow, right? And you don't chew enough. So especially with meat, we're not chewing it enough. So then it goes into your stomach. It's not broken down enough. And the hydrochloric acid might not be able to, maybe it's low. If somebody's got a gut issue, men with their distended bellies, that's definitely a condition of their liver and the hydrochloric acid in their stomach being out of whack. And so then it sits in the bottom of your stomach and rots. It literally sits in there and rots. So if you don't chew your food well enough, you're compromising your whole digestive system, and that's just not really good at all. So that's a benefit for you, hey, Sarah?
Yeah.
Well, and we've all heard that your brain takes 20 minutes for your stomach to tell your brain to tell your stomach that it's full. And yeah, so.
Plus it takes a few chews in your mouth for the saliva to determine what it is you're eating. Because there's different enzymes to digest protein, as there is to digest carbs, as there is to digest, anything else. So when you're chewing, the saliva has a chance to go, oh, we need protein enzymes in here, and it sends it up. Where you chew, chew, swallow, and it goes past the saliva, the digestive enzymes weren't put into play, and again, you're compromising it through your entire digestive system. So saliva in the mouth is important, and this isn't new. I remember hearing, make sure you chew your food years ago. Like, all of this old school stuff is starting to come back into play, and because we're hurting ourselves so bad by not even chewing our food, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
and you'll
yeah,
save money on food because you'll be eating less. So win-win.
Yeah. So I think I just wanted to bring a few of these points today to everybody. And the last point I had on my piece of paper here was, people are in the mindset of dieting when they want to lose weight too. And dieting is food restrictions where they're actually starving their body. and they go into a starvation mode where your body doesn't want to let go because it's putting it in reserve. And I think, I don't know, do you want to talk about, if you have any opinion on that before we sign off today, just on the starvation mode?
I think it actually affects our minds more than it even affects our digestive system, because we think that we are not giving ourselves something. What's the word I'm looking for? We're depriving ourselves of something. Well, I can't eat that. But when you do that, when you say, I can't eat that, everything in your body wants to reach out and eat that. Like, it's so funny, the mind games that we play. I'm starving myself for this diet, and then you go off it one day and just eat everything in sight, you know. The body, actually, I've been reading a lot about intermittent fasting, which I thought was quite a good thing. But it turns out if you don't eat every 2 or 3 hours and give your liver some glucose for your pancreas, the pancreas needs an injection of glucose every 2 to 3 hours, then you start depleting your reserves of glucose in the body. And then the liver and the pancreas go into, you know, survival mode, and it just cascades from there. So I really think that we need to have a mindset change on the fact that if we choose to eat a certain way, it's not depriving ourselves.